Good afternoon. I am tax attorney Nehemiah Jefferson. Hello, attorney Little. How are you?
Good afternoon, Attorney Jefferson. Doing well on this Thursday afternoon. So, hi, everyone out there. I'm Jamila, little immigration attorney, again, joining my esteemed colleague for another one of our Thursday live sessions. We're doing it a little bit earlier today because we know it's a holiday weekend. So, this is a lunchtime live. Hopefully, some of you guys could join us. And we have an interesting topic today. Attorney Jefferson, what are we talking about?
We are talking about legal documents everyone everyone needs. Legal documents everyone needs. So these are going to be some things that there are going to be some things that we're going to discuss over the next few minutes or so that I think should be helpful for every family.
Absolutely. Um, we'll also talk about some interesting occurrences, people who didn't have these documents who we thought, were interesting to mention. So we'll hop right in. I think there are maybe about three or four of these documents.
Yes, yes. So many people may be familiar with the entertainer or was familiar with the entertainer Prince. Made a lot of uh, Made a
Artists,
lot of popular records. Well,
right?
Prince died without a will, which is the first document or legal document that we want to discuss. Why don't you share with our our those who are watching what a will is and what why you should have it.
Yeah. So a will is really, I guess you can say your last will and testament. And for those out there, obviously as an attorney, it's something that we strongly advise people to have. Even though we're not necessarily in the estate planning world, we see it affect our clients. So your will discuss things like who will inherit your assets, your real estate, your property, your cash, your heirlooms, and if you even have kids, your will can actually discuss who would take custody of your dependent kids. And I think one of the things that people don't realize is you always have something that you can put in a will. I hear a lot of people saying, I am not going to do a will or I don't have anything left.
Right.
Well, just all of your personal assets, even if you may not have a house or a car, think about things like your jewelry, or even sometimes people have really expensive, maybe designer clothes, or not expensive clothes, but things that you may want to just decide who kind of gets what. It makes it so much easier on family members in that time of bereavement that they can just look at this and say, I'm going to honor your last wishes, as opposed to trying to figure it out and having confusion and really having maybe family members against each other, just kind of
Right.
taking some of that out of the way and allowing people to really grieve in their time of grieving, and just um, have your last wishes to be respected. What do you think?
Exactly. I think you covered that very, very well. I mean, a will is, I like to say, a will tells the world what you would like to have happen with respect to those things in your control after you have passed away. And so I thought you did an awesome job in explaining what it is, as well as why everyone should have a will. So the next document we would like to talk
Let me,
about is
let
a,
me just say this one thing
okay,
before we go on to the next document.
yeah,
And if you're having a will prepared, again, seek out an attorney who does trusts and estates, because especially in Florida, I guess every state has its requirements, but Florida has some really specific requirements for your will. And if there's a will contest after you pass away, and those those criteria are met, then the will may not be able to do what it's supposed to do. So just make sure that you have someone who is a licensed attorney to prepare this, and all of those different boxes are checked so your will actually stands up.
Absolutely. All right, the next document we like to discuss is the healthcare, what I would term the healthcare directive. Now, in some states, they are called different things, or there may be different terminology, but essentially, a healthcare directive appoints a surrogate or an individual to carry out your wishes should something happen to you, such as like you become incapacitated, or you end up on life support, or you're unable to make certain cognitive decisions. And this is a document that absolutely everybody should have. So many things are happening in today's world, and there is absolutely no guarantee that we're going to experience some of the things that maybe our parents have experienced, or grandparents. That is, getting living to be a certain age. You just never know when something might happen.
Right.
As you well know, Attorney Little, you do also personal injury. Accidents happen, and
Yeah.
so this is a document that everybody should definitely strongly consider having. And this is something that you should talk to an attorney about as well, an estate planning attorney as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, this directive will also assign the healthcare surrogate, as far as my understanding goes, and that person will have the opportunity to decide some of your health decisions when you can't. And that's a huge burden. And this is why these things have to be thought out before you get in that situation. Because again, imagine if you are maybe in an accident, unfortunately, or if you find yourself in the hospital on life support, then at some point, if a decision has to be made to take you off of life support or not, it's really tough at that point where your family may be in a situation where this is something totally unexpected. There has never been a conversation about a healthcare directive or a surrogate who's going to do these things. And then they're just put in a position where they have to make an extremely difficult decision without having discussed this with you before or thought about it before. So, yeah, I echo what you're saying. Very important.
Yeah.
What?
And it certainly, obviously can create a great deal of legal battles or challenges as
And
well
stress.
without some type of document like the healthcare directive. And another document that I believe everyone should have is a final arrangement, or what I would term a final arrangement document. So what would you like your funeral to look like? Or what would you like to see happen? I don't know if you ever had to plan a funeral, Attorney Little?
I fortunately have not.
Mhm.
I know that as a pastor as well, this may be something that you do, or obviously take part in, maybe a lot more hands on. But I haven't had to. But obviously, you can share your experience in terms of being an attorney, as well as like maybe having to do that as a pastor, and how really impacts families.
Well, it's just one less thing that the bereaved or grieving family has to worry about. You can essentially decide everything. You know, the music, where it's going to take place, whether you want to be cremated, whether you want to be buried, where you want to be buried, and all
Right.
of these things actually are helpful to know ahead of time as well, as it relates to planning. Funerals are not inexpensive.
They are expensive. Yeah.
They are definitely expensive. Obviously, cremation is not as expensive as a funeral, but these are things that your family would would be great for your family to know if these things were already in place such that they don't have to worry about it. And speaking of the cost of a funeral, everybody, please purchase life insurance, or as I call it, love insurance.
I like that. Love insurance.
Love insurance or life insurance
Mm,
is not for you, it's for
mhm.
your family. And
Right.
that is one of the best things that you can also do. Maybe maybe one of our discussions will be about creating wealth or generational wealth, or maybe even talk a little bit more in depth about estate planning. But one of the ways in which you can create wealth or an estate to pass on is through life insurance.
Right.
But what we have seen oftentimes is that there is no life insurance policy, not
Right.
even a burial policy of a couple of $1,000s, $5,000, 10,000, whatever it might be. And then the family is left holding the bag, as we like to say,
Yeah.
or having to try to figure out how to
Take care of all this
take
debt.
care of those expenses.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this may seem like a somber topic, but it really, really is important. It is so important, and we really can't stress enough like how important these simple things are in making and it really is about your loved ones, making their lives a lot better. Um,
Absolutely.
there was one more
Yes.
document I wanted to talk about really briefly, and that's a durable power of attorney.
Yeah.
So a POA, or power of attorney, is also, I would believe, another essential document that can go into this group of estate planning documents. And the
Yeah.
power of attorney essentially appoints a person to make financial decisions on your behalf if you find yourself incapacitated again, that car accident or that illness that lands you in the
Right.
hospital, you're not able to make decisions. But guess what? Your bills still need to be paid, right? You
Absolutely.
still, Tico still wants their money.
Yes.
So this person can access your finances as well as all your other matters and just make sure that things keep going so that when you recover, you won't find yourself in a situation of having to catch up on any of your personal or financial matters. This person can take care of them.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please consider getting a will, healthcare directive, durable power of attorney, and maybe even going ahead and making your final arrangement such that your family does not have that concern. Well, I hope you have a wonderful upcoming holiday weekend, Attorney Little,
Thank
and
you.
we will look forward to chatting with you on next week.
All right. See you next week. And guys, thanks for watching. Again,
Yes.
questions, comments, feel free to put them below, and we'll see you next time.
All right. See you.